Now, the big story at the moment and at this hour emerging from Maharashtra, where earlier there was a tussle between the BJP and the Shiv Sena government. Now, the governor has jumped in. Governor in support of what the BJP has been demanding, which is to open religious places as well. While the bars are open, the argument of the BJP had been, if bars are allowed to be open, why not temples? Well, the governor has now written a very stinging letter to the Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. The governor, who has been active politically, sarcastically remarked that if the Chief Minister was receiving divine motions at this point to keep postponing reopening places of worship, or have you suddenly turned secular, the term you hated? The Chief Minister hit back then, and this is a response that NDTV has of Uddhav Thackeray, saying that his Hindutva did not require a certificate from the governor or anyone. He also added that inviting people who call Mumbai POK also falls outside his definition of Hindutva. Uddhav Thackeray also reminded the governor reopening temples or delaying it is not a question of secularism, and asked the governor if he had forgotten his own faith and his own oath from the constitution. A war of words intensifying between the Maharashtra governor and the Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. Let's take it forward to Saurabh Gupta now joining us with the latest. Saurabh, you broke that story with the letter that we are flashing on our screens also at this point, that stinging letter that the governor has now written to Uddhav Thackeray, and the response equally sarcasm.
Well, mostly this is a significant, development, given the fact that the office of the governor, which has been considered apolitical so far, has turned political in no uncertain terms now. Earlier, the governor's office would come into the play when there was a trust vote, or, when there was a very, very political, I would say very, very constitutional issue that required the adjudication of the governor. That was when the governor would come into the play in local politics. Now it seems with Jagdeep Dhankar in West Bengal or Bhagat Singh Koshyari in Maharashtra, the governor is an important tool of politics. At least that's what seems to be the impression that's being sent out. Now, why is this being said? Now, look at the turn of events. The BJP and other opposition parties as well, including Raj Thakray's MNS and, the All India AIMIM, also the BJP, of course, have been writing to the Chief Minister on this issue. But on the day, the governor's letter comes on a day that the BJP is holding protests on the issue. So that's where, the tying of the governor's office with the pushing of the political agenda of the BJP comes into the picture. And that's something that perhaps the Chief Minister hasn't really taken kindly to. In fact, given the politics of the state, one of the massive, sort of frustrations of the BJP, so to speak, has been the fact that the Hindutva vote of the Shiv Sena has remained with the Shiv Sena. They've not been able to paint the Shiv Sena as a non-Hindutva party. Now, by questioning the Shiv Sena's Hindutva, the BJP wants to bring or pull away a chunk of the Hindutva votes that the Shiv Sena has. But the Shiv Sena also remains, equally committed to the Hindutva ideology, and thereby the BJP and the Shiv Sena are in a tussle for the Hindutva votes. That's no secret. But in all of this, you see the governor's office also coming into the play. And the political script of all of this is, of course, something that's very clear to see. That's what it is about, rather than, of course, the war of words between the Chief Minister and the governor, which is also something that's quite unprecedented. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray is seen as someone who's calm and, and not very aggressive in such, situations. But today's response has come pretty quick, actually, from the Chief Minister. It's come in almost, no time. And that's something that perhaps is also to be noted, because it is a battle between the BJP and the Shiv Sena. and the governor's office also coming into the play. And this is not just in Maharashtra. In several other states, the governor's office being used politically. There are examples. For example, West Bengal is one example that comes to mind. Jagdeep Dhankar, the governor there, has a run-in with the chief minister almost every week. But even in Maharashtra, you're now beginning to see that kind of politics using the governor's office. And that's something that's playing out here in Maharashtra as well, with this war of words between the Maharashtra governor, Bhagat Singh Koshyari, and the chief minister, Uddhav Thackeray.